All right, let's get into it. I got a ton of news and information. It has been a crazy, hectic week in the crypto space, and we're gonna try to do our best to cover some of like the hottest news and clips and things that you need to know. I did want to touch base on kind of where we are with the fear and greed index. We got some new information about the economy here in the United States, and then we also heard about the Clarity Act and like what's going on with that. We got a special update. And we got a bunch of stuff coming from consensus too. So that should be interesting to touch on. Hope everybody is doing well. I know we started a little later today. Sorry, I just had a lot going on today and I needed a little bit more time to put everything together. I'd appreciate it if you guys could like and share out the event. That would be really cool. And we will get going here. Let me just say what's up to everyone. Peter O'Neill, great to see you. Peter, what's up, Wayne? So Sensei, hello. XRP Army, hello. Hope everyone is doing, having enjoyable, taking advantage of the discounts. Yes, price will have to skyrocket for me to even slow down my accumulation. I know, man. I hear that. It never feels like there's enough money in the world, though, to buy everything that you want. But it's good. It's good that people maybe that are like newer or people that want to expand their holdings have some more opportunity to do that. I know there's a lot of people that would like to see the crypto market on the better side of, of utility rather than speculation prices, but we'll talk about that. LEX is in the house. Great to see you. Got Ariana here. Jordan, what's up? Jordan, OSOK is here. The Winter B is here. Great to see you, Tom. Jordan Hardwick, what's up, Jordan? Big Daddy, what's up, Big Daddy? All right, let me show you some clips. All right, let's just jump into the information. All right, let me show you this though first. This is quite frustrating. Here's some prices for crypto assets: 21 to 26, same price. Bitcoin 24 to 26, same price. Solana 21 to 26, same price. BNB 21 to 26, same price. XRP 2017 to 26, same price. And then look at Tron 2018 to 2026, same price. That was a lot of emotions go through the head when I see this. I know it feels like we've made such strides and growth, but when you look at the prices like this, it really feels like we have gone nowhere really quickly here in the last 5 years. This is something that stood out to me. And the reason I put this as the thumbnail for the content is because I don't think I've ever seen the fear and greed index at 5. I don't think I've ever seen it. I mean, if you look at the 2012 crash, I wasn't around though. That was a 10. The Mt. Gox was 9. 17-18 crash, 11. COVID crash was 9. FTX crash was 12. And then 2026 crash is 5. 5. I don't know how to feel about this, I feel that retail is exhausted, right? I feel that people have been through the ringer with the crypto market, especially over the last few years. I played a clip the other day where they were talking about just the last 5 years, like what people have been through, right? And if you go back, you had COVID, you had Terra Luna, you had FTX, you had 3 Arrows, right? You had all of that. You fast forward to kind of where we are now, and it's just, you had the October 10th liquidity crash. That was $19 billion wiped out. And it feels like every time we start getting momentum in the right direction, some stupid announcement comes out about something that just causes the market to tumble again. And I don't know if it's, manipulation, if it's meant to happen like that, but it feels like people are just beat up and tired. And I'd really like to see that change sometime soon. And I don't know if that changes with regulation, but I imagine that's going to be a first step. But man, it feels rough. What's up, Scott? Good to see you, dude. Crypto Sensei, good afternoon from the Big Island. Good to see you, Scott. Hope you're doing well, man. All right, here, let me show you a bunch of stuff though. There's some stuff that like really stood out to me this week. This was something that my friend sent me. Netherlands House of Representatives have approved a 36 tax on unrealized capital gains. I don't know what some of these countries are doing, but this is crazy. This is pretty crazy on unrealized capital gains. So I don't know if this gets passed, but it did pass one of the houses there, and I don't know, kind of crazy where the world is heading in some places. Paul Barron did highlight this today. CPI just hit 2.4 below expectations. Core CPI is at a 5-year low. The Fed claimed inflation was heating up, but the reality is the economy is freezing over. Bankruptcies hitting 2008 levels, labor market cracking, delinquencies soaring. And so this is probably why we are seeing the market how it is right now. It feels like a lot of retail just doesn't have the bandwidth to kind of buy crypto and support different crypto assets. We're seeing some different information in the stock market. This could affect the markets dramatically, obviously. February 20th, the Supreme Court is going to announce their decision on President Trump's tariffs. If that goes the way of if the Supreme Court says President Trump doesn't have the power, the emergency power that he was using to implement these tariffs, the U.S. government is going to have to refund hundreds of billions of dollars, and that's going to be a freaking mess. And I don't know what's going to happen with this, but I know when you get things that become a little unstable and people don't know what's going to happen, you're going to get some panic in the market. So just be prepared for this. If you see it on February 20th, you see the markets kind of either going up or down dramatically, it's going to be probably based off of this Supreme Court decision. Personally, I think the Supreme Court will I think the Supreme Court's not gonna decide with the Trump administration. I think they will go the other way. And I don't know. You gotta imagine, like, if somebody can just claim emergency powers kind of out of thin air to do economic policy that Congress was put in place to do tariffs and taxes and tax and levies and things like that. This is a kind of a slippery slope for president. So we'll have to see what they decide to do, but just keep that in the forefront. We did get some numbers about CPI inflation, and we did talk about that already, so I don't really need to get into that. But here's something that is standing out to me. The U.S. debt spiral is about to intensify. CBO projects that U.S. budget deficits will rise by an additional 1.4 trillion over the next 10 years. This comes as government spending is set to $1.3 trillion higher than previously expected. Government spending, the thing that we were supposed to be cutting back by firing all of these people, is actually out of control the other way. At some point, revenues are estimated to be below 49 billion, lower than prior forecasts. Furthermore, net interest is projected to surge to a record 2.1 trillion by 2036, more than doubling from 2026 levels. As a percent of GDP, the deficit is projected to reach 6.7% by 2036, well above the 50-year average of 3.8%. I don't think there is a long-term plan here. I think this is kind of what people have been talking about with needing a reset. This is why countries are a little hesitant to buy U.S. debt right now. It is kind of spiraling out of control. Now, here's some alarming numbers. U.S. household debt surged 191 billion in Q4 to a record of 18.8 trillion. The total household debt has increased to 4.6 trillion since January 2020. Total household debt has increased 4.6 trillion in the last 6 years here. The surge was driven by mortgage debt, which jumped 98 billion to a record 13.2 trillion. Credit card debt, look at this. Credit card debt in the US is now $1.3 trillion. This tells you that people don't have enough to pay their bills and they're living off their credit cards. Auto loan balances increased 12 billion to 1.7 trillion, also a record. Student loan balance increased to 11 billion to 1.7 trillion, all-time highs. Americans are taking on record levels of debt. Eventually, this stress, this is probably why markets are not doing well. I've seen delinquencies rise on car payments and other things and mortgages too. You can talk about how good maybe the stock market's doing, but if you look at the average person, the average American, they are struggling right now. It is pretty bad. All right. Patrick Witt is becoming my least favorite person. I'll play a clip for you that I put into a video that just boggles the mind of what this guy is saying. All right, what I want you to do here is listen to this clip. The first 20 seconds, this person is going to tell you that crypto is the threat to all banks. And then he's going to tell you that banks are applying for OCC charters. He's getting banks mixed up with fintechs. And I mean, this guy's just all over the map here. And this is the person who's supposed to be the highest, in the White House for crypto council. And he gets things mixed up all the time. I'm just losing faith in this person as the top crypto advisor, but listen closely.
Should a Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan be threatened?
Oh, wait, that's not the clip. I do apologize. That's the other clip. Where's the clip? Oh, give me a second. I'm sorry. There's several of these clips floating around, and that's not the right one. Give me a second. Hold on, that's the new clip. Did I close it? Hold on, Deanna. Let me pull it up. Sorry. Give me 1 second here. That's not it.
There's going to be a convergence between crypto and the banks. Right now, it is a new product. It's somewhat threatening to the community banks and not just the community banks, but also the GSIBs, the larger banks. But they're ultimately going to start getting into the crypto space. They can also offer stablecoin products to their customers, just the same as crypto. This is not an unfair advantage in either way. And then many of the banks are now applying for OCC bank charters themselves to.
Many of the banks are applying for OCC bank charters. He's like I said, he's getting banks mixed up with fintechs.
Start offering bank-like products to their customers. So in the future, I don't think this is going to be an issue, but we're managing through an interim period where there's a lot of people on the bank side of the table that feel threatened by this, but ultimately I think they're going to find opportunities to use these products and leverage them and offer new products to their customers and expand their businesses.
I don't know, man. I'm not too psyched about this guy at this point. I think I don't know if he's playing dumb or he just doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, I remember when all this fight started about stablecoins weeks back, and he didn't have a position, right? He didn't know what to say. And so I don't know if he's the right person that should be there. And it sounds like he's more there to represent banks than retail crypto holders. And maybe that's what their purpose is, but I don't know, man. It's kind of a dumpster fire in my personal opinion. Chris is saying, I'd like the community to know that I use my Uphold debit card and spent RLUSD with ease of any debit card. Yeah, man. I appreciate you saying that. I actually been using my Uphold card. I went to Target the other day. I bought, I don't know what my wife was needing, some baskets, and we got a bunch of stuff. It was like $50, Uphold card, get back some XRP. I mean, it's so simple. I mean, it's just like using your other bank card, and you just put money on it, you use it, and you get XRP back. It's like the most, basic thing somebody can do to earn free rewards. And they do make it really easy, man. You're the richest country on the planet with biggest debt. You're absolutely right. We are. But I think it's starting to spiral. And so I don't know what this looks like on the other side of it. I know that a lot of people just don't have extra money right now to put into the market, right? And you look back at 2020, the reason that was such a unique time for the crypto market in 2020 is people were all home, everybody was online, everybody was getting all this extra money that they probably shouldn't have got, right? Some of it, yes, people should have gotten it, but billions, hundreds of billions of dollars were given to people that probably shouldn't have got the money, right? And then I don't know, man. People are buying Pokemon cards and boats and things like that with government money. It was really crazy, man. But I don't know if we're ever going to relive that certain time, but that was a different time, man. That was a lot better time. I feel like it was a scary time, but I'm talking about as far as the crypto market, the health of like you could put money into anything and make money. That's kind of what I was talking about. Not like that was a rough time for everybody, but when it comes to the crypto market making money, that was a lot easier time than what people are dealing with today. Let me correct that. All right, here, let me get into some of these other clips. Here, this is a new one. Let me play it. The Clarity Act is coming. Latest update.
So the status right now, the House passed the Clarity Act, their version of it last year, over to the House in July, I believe. And the Senate has taken it up and made its own changes to it and is fashioning their own version. We were able to pass half of the bill out of the Ag Committee that handles the CFTC portions. And now we're just stuck in the Banking Committee for the SEC portions, the securities portions of that bill. So there was a markup that was scheduled on, I believe, January 18th that unfortunately got pulled down, postponed, but we're working hard to address the issues that were raised that led to the postponement of that markup and hopefully get that back on the books soon. And then once we pass that out of the Banking Committee, the two pieces of the legislation will need to be reconciled before a final vote on the floor. So more work to be done, but we're a step closer with the passage of the ag portion of this a couple weeks ago.
You know what's crazy? Why didn't they just keep the bill the same? You know, you got bipartisan support out of the House, and then you bring it over to the Senate, and then you completely change stuff to not get bipartisan support. Like, I don't quite understand what Republicans are doing here. I hope there's a plan, right? I hope that they're able to fix it. I don't know, man. It's kind of crazy. Big Kahuna, good to see you. David Sachs is the crypto czar. Yeah, I know. Patrick Witt is like the crypto council of the White House. I hear what you're saying. Russian legislation on crypto. I mean, Russian economy is in a lot worse shape than the U.S. economy. You know, their biggest export is oil, and Ukraine's been systematically taking that offline. You know, they're trying to take away their ability to fund the war, right? And so I don't know, man. You know, I don't think Russia's going to have an economy much longer. If you just take a look at all of the numbers, it's dire for those people. It's pretty rough. Can the emperor change law? I don't know, man. China's economy is also in bad shape. The entire world's economies are in bad shape. We are not alone. Yeah, that makes sense, man. I think people are just, I don't know. It does feel like we are moving ever so closer to wealthier, getting more rich, and then everybody else just getting more poor. And I don't know, like wages are not keeping up with inflation, right? And so as all of this stuff happens, you know, if you're not getting a 5 or 6% raise per year, you're not keeping up with inflation. So it's tough, man. It's really tough for people. Let's see here. CJ Smith says, I don't think banks want their own stable coins. They want to have it backed 1-to-1. They don't like that. So banks, certain banks will want their own. Most banks won't, though. Like most banks will be happy to use you know, an RLUSD or a USDC, right? They're not going to touch Tether. You know, that would just be crazy. Now they might touch Tether's new stablecoin if they can prove reserves and all of those things and be legitimate. But you know, some banks don't want to take the risk, right? Let's say something happens, the coin depegs, or, you know, a technological failure. You know, you have to keep up with integrations into other blockchains. I mean, it can get extremely complicated, right? And banks are not, you know, software developers, right? Banks go out and they purchase the software that they want. Similar thing with crypto. They're going to partner with, you know, Fireblocks and Ripple and Circle, and they're going to use their infrastructure. Aloha Kame Sensei, we need to chill, buy the dip. Let's have a barbecue to celebrate what we let's to celebrate what we have, not what we don't have. At least Japan is heading in the right direction in regards to crypto in general. Well, give me a call, man. I'm down for a barbecue. Tice is a little ill right now, but maybe next weekend or something. I'm down for that. I could use a break. I could use a break, definitely. Haven't seen you in a while, Kame. Hope you're doing well. All right, let me play this next clip for you.
Should a Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan be threatened?
I don't think so. I think there's tremendous opportunity for the JP Morgans of the world to engage in crypto activities. If you just go to LinkedIn, there's plenty of job postings at JP Morgan hiring people into the digital asset space. So I think they're indicating that they intend to get into this space in a big way. They were present at last week's meeting, very constructive, and I think. Yeah, on the stablecoin part of this, there's the consumer banking side, but then there's also the institutional bank side. And as more and more liquidity gets added to treasury markets with stablecoin being backed by T-bills, there's a lot of activity and commercial activity that the banks, the larger banks that have rates trading operations can get into. So I think for those larger banks that have those kinds of business lines and large practices there, they recognize what an opportunity this is.
All right. I think that was a little bit more bullish clip. Here is Scott Bessent, the Treasurer of the United States, talking about the Clarity Act.
The overall crypto community. So, in a time when we are having one of these historically volatile sell-offs, I think some clarity on the Clarity Bill would give great comfort to the market, and we could move forward from there. So it's very important to get this done. And I think if the Democrats were to take the House, which is far from my best case, then the prospects of getting a deal done will just fall apart. I mean, look what the Democrats did to crypto under the Biden administration. It was almost an extinction event, and President Trump has worked to make the U.S. the digital asset capital of the world. There's a lot of innovation that goes on adjacent to crypto in the blockchain, in DeFi. So I think it's important to get this Clarity Bill done as soon as possible and on the president's desk this spring.
You know what? Scott Bessent doesn't realize what he's saying in real time, right? Like, I think Democrats understand that Fairshake has $193 million. And they saw what happened last election. And if they get crypto done, Republicans can't hold it over their heads, right? And they're pretty smart. They understand that. So the Clarity Act, I'd imagine the Clarity Act will get done the next few months. Like I truly believe that'll get done, because you don't want to deal with hundreds of millions of dollars invested against you in an election, right? And I don't know, man. I think you need a little bit of check on power at this point, because things are getting a little out of hand. But all right. We have a lot of clips from Consensus. Some of them are pretty crazy. Let me go ahead and play these.
The largest banks that we're talking to, you have executive management at these banks look me in the eye and say, we believe financial assets will be tokenized. We believe financial assets will be moved on chain. Help us. Since the additional momentum that we've seen in the US on the regulatory side, the additional unlocks that has happened, both on the CFTC and on the SEC fronts, these regulators around the world, they follow in the footsteps of the United States. And the regulators in these other countries, in these Asian countries, are looking at this aggressively. The corresponding banks, these Asian countries, other countries outside the US, they're doing the same. Everybody understands that this is inevitable. It's gonna happen. Am I gonna let my competitor go out there first and beat me to market? Or am I gonna go out and be first to market with some of these tokenized products?
Exactly. That's exactly what I've been trying to say for the past year.
Super exciting times. I can tell you the banks are very much so engaged, unlike before.
Man, that's a really great clip. I thought this was a pretty good clip. This is Anthony Scaramucci. Check this out.
Now, if I were talking to the banks, and I was going to give them advice, I would say, hey guys, this is going to happen whether you like it or not. Okay, you're the taxi cab industry and Uber's coming into town. So you can either fix what's going wrong in the taxi cab industry, or Uber's going to eat your lunch. Okay, so it's, for me, it's more advice to the banking executives than to Brian.
Totally.
But I think you're making the point, Brian, relax, get the deal done, and let's move forward. And I think we're generally going to go in that direction, likely before Memorial Day, likely before Memorial Day.
Did you guys see Coinbase's stock, like the numbers on the Coinbase's stock? It was pretty bad. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Like, it was diving hard because their quarterly 4 report came out. Let me see if I can find it. I saw a bunch of people talking about this yesterday. Oh, you know what? I have it in Cryptonaires. Give me a second. Hold on. Where did I put it? Oh, yeah. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here, check this out. Coinbase, the report, a large quarterly loss, posting quarterly EPS of negative 249 compared to expectations of positive 96. The company posted a net loss of $667 million last quarter. That can't be good, man. That can't be good. $670 million loss in a quarter. Man. Marlon Wells, banks need to wake up and realize deposits can still be taken from them by people or with or without rewards. Crypto will still be able to be spent like money. Marlon, I think you're absolutely right. You know, and I think banks understand that, but they're going to fight every single inch of it, right? Because they have more to lose than I mean, like some of them, I mean, let's be honest, right? There's some companies that are banks today that probably won't exist 10 years from now, right? You probably don't need tens of thousands of banks around the world, the number that we've had, right? The correspondent model is coming to an end, right? People have apps that they use. You know, you have exchanges, you have blockchain infrastructure companies, you have what are they called? You know, you have Visa, MasterCard kind of upgrading to blockchain using that. You have AI, agentic AI, MoneyGrams, right? You just have a lot of ways people can now send money without using those traditional rails. And I think people are, I think some banks that don't adopt the technology quickly enough, I just don't think they'll be relevant, in a few years. But thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate you. Exactly. This comment is exactly right. I'm pretty sure that it was Mooch who said that the Dems will bend the knee and pass crypto because the fair shake lobby is a bazooka and they don't need that point into them. Yeah, I mean, think about it. Like if I don't really want to go down this rabbit hole too much, but the political system is very broken in this country, right? And it swings to the left and then it swings back to the right, right? When people are not happy with what's going on. And I think if you take a look around or if you turn on any kind of news program, you know that people are uncomfortable with kind of where things are at right now. And so I think Democrats have a real strong chance of being successful as long as they don't shoot themselves in the foot again. So I think that they're going to get it done. And I think it's going to be really good for the industry. And then you can just go out and have an election and let the best policies win, which it should be. Instead of kind of bringing up, crypto and using that as like a loaded gun, just get it passed, take the hit and move on. Right. And I think what you said there is, really well said, man. Marlon, appreciate you, man. Thank you for being a member for 2 months. Thanks, dude. Man, I think this week, I don't know. I mean, I think it was like 6 videos yesterday, 5 videos today. Putting out so much content right now because there's just so many things that are happening. I try not to reuse content unless it's something like extremely good, but I mean, there's still so much happening and you can kind of see like some of the retail is kind of, left, not really caring too much about watching content. And then some people are still there learning. And so, we'll have to see how it all goes here. All right, I got a few other things I want to show you here, guys, because there was still a bunch of clips that came out of consensus that were worth talking about. So, like, this is exactly what we're talking about here, right? This is exactly what Bikahuna was talking about.
If you ask me, and I did say this in November of 24, I said, hey, crypto turned this election, helped Donald Trump become president, helped the Republicans win the House and the Senate, and this is one of the reasons why I think this bill's passing.
Yeah.
Because if you talk to Gillibrand, you talk to Schumer, Richie Torres, these are people in my state, they're like, I don't want to go up against fair shake in the midterm elections. We're better off passing a deal and then turning the fair shake and say, hey, I supported you guys. Lay off me.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's the message. And again, when I look at the varying interests, fair shake is a part of it, and they need to be applauded for the work that they've done.
There you go, man. But Kahuna, when you said Mooch, were you talking about Anthony Scaramucci? I just put those two names together in my head. I don't know. I was like, I wonder who Mooch is. And now I'm like, it's Anthony Scaramucci. My goodness, man. My goodness. Did content spike like it is now when Bitcoin shot up in price? It's not content spiking, it's viewers watching, right? You can tell, right? Like you used to, like, if making content in November and December, that was like the most time people were watching. And like January, people fell off the cliff, and then like starting to come back a little bit in February. But like in December, I think we did over 5 million views on YouTube in December. And then like last month, it was like 3.3 or something. So it fell off a large amount. And it's kind of ranging, but I think most of retail is still not very happy with the market. I think regulation will help move it back in the right direction. But I mean, getting regulation still doesn't change where most retail traders are right now, right? You haven't had a cycle where people have printed a bunch of money, right? And people need to print to be able to put it into other stuff, right? Newer projects and newer investments, right? And if you don't have that windfall, you don't have, you can't cycle it into the market. So I think people just need to be very careful of what they're putting their money into right now, because most projects don't have runway, they don't have the liquidity, don't have I meet with projects all the time, and a lot of this stuff is like really good technology, and you can hear it from them that they're having trouble raising money right now. And it's a little bit of the larger institutional, crypto investment companies, and it's retail. And you can kind of tell from the conversations that they're not sure how it's going to go. And it's a shame, because there's some really unique technology that is being developed right now that it should have more funding, it should have the runway to blow up, and it's kind of, they don't know how it's going to go, man. So I will keep you up to date on that. Like I'll tell you how the wind's blowing. Triple G7, what's up, dude? What's up? We get a little weird on Fridays. I think Fridays, I'm so tired at this point. So like we get a little strange on Fridays. All right, I got more stuff I want to show you. Listen to this. This really stood out to me. This was a mind-boggling stat. And this really goes to show you how crypto is going to change institutional markets.
There was a really interesting tweet by the CEO of Coinbase stating US markets are actually open only 19% of the time. 19%. In extended hours, 48% of the time. Imagine, and I think the gentleman were talking about it earlier, imagine when the market actually is 24/7. How I think we still do not foresee exactly what that will look like in the day-to-day operations. But so I think, the Asia is preparing for it. I would say on the Western side, definitely more attention to ETPs, ETFs, I would say, whereas here it's a lot more about infrastructure, and we're definitely seeing movement there.
19% of the time. That is a crazy number, man. Bikahuna says the segment with the accounting guys of their day was incredibly informative. Appreciate it. Yeah. Those guys are pretty smart, right? And some of their stuff is, a little bit, you get what you pay for, right? If you want somebody to go in and connect all those transactions and show the cost bases, that's somebody taking time to do all that, right? But I think a lot of people don't realize how much maybe they're overpaying by not finding these little key details. And they provide a lot of value, right? And it doesn't hurt to kind of understand what a quote from those guys would look like, and if they can help you. And the reason I brought those guys back is because you guys kept asking tax questions, right? And I need to use this channel as a way to help educate you. And when I don't have the knowledge on certain topics, I need to go out and find the experts that do. And so, I appreciate you showing up and watching that. And I'm glad there was value. It was fun to grab comments from you guys and have them answer them live. I thought that was pretty cool. 4,000 NDAs, 1,700. When are Ripple's 4,000 NDAs lifted? I don't know, man. The whole point of an NDA is we don't know what's in the NDA. I'd imagine some of them have expirations when certain things happen. They'll be lifted, but I think some of those you'll never know what's inside of them. And I think people always speculate what's there, but I don't think anybody really knows outside of like the general counsel at Ripple, right? Because the only person that's seeing all of those things are the people in the general counsel's office, like the Stuart Alderadis of the world. Are you talking about the new report that was issued about derivatives? Floating and then pegged? I went over that in a video today. It'll come out probably tomorrow. Kristen has a question above. Let me scroll up. Christian. Can you get Rob to pull it so it might help me understand pull what? What did I miss? Yeah, I try not to make it over that. When I see content, like people, so if I'm looking straight at the camera and I look to the right, I'm looking at the time, because the screen here, I'll show you. So like I have it. So, what am I doing? Okay. So here, so the screen it's a little screen. I need to get like an iPad and something more fancy, but I look to see how long I've been recording for. And like, if it's like 15, 16 minutes, I'm like, oh, I need to wrap this up. I don't want to go over that. What's the comment? Can you just repost it? I tagged you on X. Oh man, I can't. Yeah. Floating versus pegged. I know what you're talking about. I did a video. It'll come out tomorrow. It's the video that starts with the Patrick Witt clip. You see the Patrick Witt clip, it's in that video. It'll come out tomorrow. What does it mean? It basically means that here, let me pull it up. Hold on. The crypto market, since prices fluctuate, it's probably not the best asset to use to back up certain derivative products. And so, I'd imagine you need much higher, more stable prices of things. They were looking at it compared to like precious metals and other things, right? I know exactly what you're talking about. I just don't know if I closed it. Hold on. Let me get Lexi up. Hold on. Ooh. I don't know when I researched this. Hold on. It was today. Yeah, here it is. I found it. I got it. Here. So let me see if I remember how to. I know where to find it. Hold on. Bank XRP. Okay, you're talking about. This. Okay, so there's this new report. The Federal Reserve Board just released a new paper on initial margin for cryptocurrency risks in uncleared markets. The author suggests that the new ISDA SIM risk class with two distinct buckets, floating and pegged. And I mean, it's not something that we talk about a lot, but the paper argues that crypto needs its own risk class in derivatives margin models, split into floating coins like Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, and peg coins with much higher margin than traditional commodities or FX. Crypto risk profile and stress periods are significantly different from commodities, FX, and equities. So the author recommends adding a separate cryptocurrencies risk class to the ISDA SIM rather than stuffing crypto into an existing commodity bucket. And so you have floating, which are the actual crypto assets, and then you have pegged, which are the stable coins. Okay. It says when crypto is forced into the commodity risk class, the calibrated delta risk weight for floating crypto is 58, which is among the top 3 in the class, as well as many traditional commodities like precious metals. When crypto is given its own separate class, its calibrated delta risk weight for floating crypto jumps to about 132 and pegged to about 2 versus 58 to 1, traded as commodities, reflecting much higher standalone volatility and weaker diversification. Talks about intra-bucket correlates with higher for floating coins, but for low peg coins, about 14 to 20%, while cross-bucket and cross-asset class correlates with equities, FX, and commodities are near zero. The message is that crypto does not hedge the rest of the portfolio and must be margined more heavily. So I don't know. It didn't sound like a good report for crypto, but that's the gist of it. So Jason asks, if the Clarity Act says no one party can hold more than 20% of tokens, what does Ripple do with 15? It's actually more than 15. It's Ripple holds anywhere from 39 to 42 billion in total. So it's really like, what do they do with 19 or 20, 22 billion tokens? So there's an interesting way this can go. And so we don't know if any company or institution or person owns part of the escrow. And David Schwartz himself has said that Ripple could sell the wallet that represents, 500 million tokens or whatever, right? Because they release 1 billion per month, but they're in wallets of 500 million, right? And then they usually last year they were locking up usually 70% back. Some months they locked up less, but we don't know who owns some of the escrow, and that could be the BlackRocks of the world, right? We just don't know. We don't know what we don't know. And so Ripple, if that does pass with that language in it, Ripple would need to prove who owns that XRP. And it also says it doesn't say just the company. It says like executives of the company and things like that too, right? Because you have like Chris Larson has like 2 billion XRP, and you have other people that own a lot. So that's also included from what I understand. But we have to wait until the bill actually gets to its final place, its final resting place, before we can kind of speculate on that stuff. But I do know what you're talking about. I have covered it in detail. It was probably like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I covered this. If you go into my YouTube page and you search Ripple might have to sell 20 billion XRP or something like that, you might be able to find the video on it. I can't remember what it's titled though, since it's maybe like 200 videos ago. Yeah, I covered this in a video. Yep, they joined the council, right? And there's some really interesting information about that. I think I'm buying more Hedera. I definitely am buying more Hedera. Very impressive, the technology. And as I, learn more about it and as I interact more with content, it's coming up more on my feed, and it's very impressive, very impressive. And I think you probably shouldn't underestimate, Hedera's technology. Yeah. Hedera, Flare, Canton. Yeah, man. I think this is probably a very smart decision here. HBAR, Flare, Canton, especially right now in what we're seeing in the market. Well said. I will start talking about it more, Bodana. Definitely. I've started making content on it, right? Whereas I didn't make any HBAR content. Now I'm making a few HBAR videos a week. So you'll see more Flare content. You'll see more HBAR content. You know, I've been branching out, and at like 8 or 9 cents, why not? Right? You know, you can buy, you know, 13, 14 times more HBAR with the same amount of money as buying one XRP. And you know, I need to diversify some more in my portfolio. We need some quant sometimes. All right, that's fair enough. You know, it's hard, right? Because like when I get too far out of the algorithm, it doesn't get recommended to people. That's why you hear me asking for people to like a video now, because there's less people watching. And then when I go far out of the algorithm, it doesn't get recommended. And so I hate asking people to like a video, but I kind of have to remind people. Let's see here. Sensei, you probably said it before, but how many cold wallets do you personally run? What do you recommend? So, what is it? Cornus? Good question, man. Man, I couldn't add them all up. I have ledgers, I have decents, I have exchanges, I have Zamin. I mean, there's a lot of wallets that I have. I'd probably say 10. You know, and all of them don't have the same amount, right? There's some that have 1,000 XRP, and there's some that have a lot more. I can tell you when it comes to like your phone, I hear like Zamin's probably the #1 wallet that I hear people use. Like they have over 4 billion XRP. And I think they're kind of in a class of their own. When it comes to actual devices, handheld devices, I would say Decent, Tangem, Ledger are some of the wallets that people talk most about. I know there's probably a handful of other ones that I'm just forgetting now. Issue, like I really like the technology of Ledger, but they've had a lot of data leaks with people's personal data, and it just doesn't look good. And so that's been a little frustrating to see with them. But I mean, you know, Ledger did send me a lot of their new technology, and I was very impressed by it. But I am using Decent, I am using Ledger, I am using Zamin. Those are kind of the top 3. Yeah, and I'm sure like 100 people are going to comment on, you know, what other wallets they're using, but those are the basic ones. Quant is here, I'll show you what Quant is. This is Quant. So Quant is I won't begin to say I'm an expert on Quant. I haven't researched Quant in a very long time. Gilbert Verdian is the CEO of Quant, and he's an incredibly intelligent person. A lot of people like the total supply and circulating supply of Quant. As you can see, it's much lower than actual Bitcoin. Bitcoin's 21 million, and the total supply of Quant is only 14.88 million tokens. And Quant's sitting around $70 right now, and it has a high here of is this the total high? Yeah, all has a high of $367. But as you can see here, since 2021, it hasn't really gone above 160 bucks, right? It's kind of struggles here. And so we don't really talk a lot about it, but it is good technology. Just put XRP in the title. I know my editor does that. I know. It's not perfect, you know. We've come a long way with titles. We've had a lot of discussions about titles, and you know, I feel like we're in a better place now with titles than we were maybe a few months ago. And you know, it is an evolving process. But I hear what you're saying, dude. Yeah, I've heard, I've seen some clips where they're talking about banning cold wallets, and you have to have a wallet at the bank. I mean, what frustrates me is like you have all of these builders that have been in the space for, you know, over a decade, trying to build this decentralized future. and the banks didn't want to have anything to do with it, right? And now that they want to come in and the top 10, 15 banks want to custody all of the assets. And so it's frustrating to see. We don't really know how it's going to work out, so I'm not going to spend too much of my time speculating one way or another. But I do see a plan evolving that banks will try to control all of it. And if they get rid of self-custody, that's going to be a big blow to the crypto industry, because that's what makes it so unique and beautiful. Yeah, Bifrost wallet for Flare. Oh snap! Forever Rich. Is this your new channel? Is this your new channel, Richard? I see the photo too, man. Looking sharp, bro. Looking sharp. How long until I'm an actual millionaire? I don't know, man. I wish I could tell you, bro. Solanto, how much for a decent 1-bedroom apartment around your area in Hawaii? My specific area, probably like $2,500, $2,800 a month. But you could go down like 3 miles that way and it would probably be like 1,500. Maybe you could find a place for 1,200. It just really depends on exactly where the building is. And so my building's maybe in a little bit nicer area that people want to live, and units are a little bit more expensive. Yeah. If you want to move to Hawaii, man, it's beautiful when you can enjoy it. I think dogs should somehow be incorporated into the Olympics. What? That would be a lot of fun, but I'd be a little bit worried. Yeah, banks are greedy. I agree with you. I agree with you very much so. Oh, here, I'll tell you a story. There might be an opportunity that I will go to XRP Las Vegas. I don't know yet. But one of our partners that I work with might be interested in me being there to kind of help represent them, and as well as make some content there. So we'll see. Maybe I'll be unbanned from speaking. I don't know, but I don't know, man. Yeah, tell me it's going to 750. I'm not the guy, man. I'm not the guy. Oh, are you okay? Go drink some water. Come on. Go drink water. Sorry, it's Luna. What's Sensei, what's your exit game? My exit game. I don't know. I mean, like there's some strategies that I am, I'd imagine I'd sell some of it, but I'll probably want to keep the rest of it, right? And so it depends like what prices we're talking about. Like, are we really looking at, a 4-digit price? Are we really looking at a 3-digit price, right? I'd imagine it would be nice to get really liquid, and maybe use that money to buy some assets that can appreciate, but also bring in some monthly revenue. And then I'd probably want to save some of it, right? Take loans against it, right? And I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity to earn yields, right? Every single day I get online now, and it's like Flare and Firelight and all of these opportunities for people to use their XRP and use their Flare to earn yield. And that sounds pretty good to me, man. Like if I don't need to sell anything and I can just cruise and you make 5-6% a year, that's good enough for me. I don't need to spend too much money, but it would be nice to be able to bust out the black card and take a trip around the world or something like that, see some stuff before it just depends what happens, man. Like, I try not to get too far ahead of myself. I'm just living in the moment. Obviously I'd love to get into a situation where I have to, think a little bit harder about the strategy. But right now I'm just, trying to make it through a Friday at this point. How much is okay to keep on Coinbase? It's tough, right? Because if you talk to a lot of people in crypto, a lot of people will say, don't leave your crypto on exchange, right? But then a lot of people do. A lot of people like staking, and a lot of people like some benefits of leaving it. I know that there's some different exchanges that offer kind of different, like I have Coinbase One, where they'll insure you up to a few $100,000 if something happens to your account, right? And so I have some money on an exchange, but the majority of it is on certain wallets, and that's probably the best place to keep it, right? But if you're into staking and if you want to earn yield and do these types of things, some of these exchanges offer the highest rewards. And so you got to figure out what is good for your risk, right? And your life. And just know that if something were to happen to whatever exchange you're leaving that crypto on, that becomes a real problem for you, right? You're at the end of the line for the creditors. And so, there's been examples of people getting pennies on the dollar for their crypto if something happens. So just, you got to understand what the risks are. And once you understand all the risks, you're good. Andrew, I do not day trade. I in this market, I mean, I haven't run into many successful day traders. People say how successful they are. A few months go by and they don't post content anymore. So I'm more of I'll buy when I have some extra money. I'm expanding kind of what I'm buying. But I am not trying to time the market and do that. It's just not who I am. I spend so much time, curating content and going through things and trying to understand what's happening that, I couldn't do one thing or another. Like if I would do to day trade, I'd probably need to stop making content itself so I can just focus on charts and paying close attention. Like people that are able to do it and successfully, like those, that's incredible. I haven't run into a lot of people that have been massively successful in it. Everyone's got, a system and it's going to be great. And I don't know, man. There's thousands of Reddit threads on people with good systems, and then those systems not working out. So just be careful. If you have the talent and the skill, man, more power to you. I'm rooting for you. But it's so difficult with this crypto market, dude. Let's see here. Bodana says, am I saying that right too? Bodana, I think so. Bodana says, I've been looking at Flare for staking. Good informative videos now. The Flare site makes it a little bit more difficult. So one of my somebody that's in Cryptonaires, Richard, he's going to be making some Flare content on kind of like how to do things and like where you can get yield and different strategies. And so I'll be sharing some of that stuff in my community. We just rebuilt the community and we're about to relaunch it. And so there's going to be like a free section. There's going to be a paid section. It's going to be like $25 a month if people are interested. But I'll probably bring like one or two of his strategies on like main content so people can kind of see what he's doing to make yield and how to do it, right? But there is more and more content being created, and I'll start bringing more and more content into my videos to help you understand it. What's my strategy with DeFi for 12 months fixed? Is long time lock away? Okay, so be careful with long time locks. Okay. I can't tell you what to do with your money. I can give you a story. I can give you a story about me. All right. This was maybe like 2021, 2022. This was definitely 2021, right? This was when things were still crazy. And there was some token that I had bought, and there was some kind of new staking platform that popped up for that particular token. And I was like, oh, cool. They're offering that much. I was like, yeah, I'll lock it away. I'll lock it away. Maybe like 3 months goes by, 6 months goes by. I kind of forgot it was there, right? And that's hard too when you're trading a bunch of stuff, unless you have a good detailed list of something, you can lose track of things, right? The site that supported the staking, gone. And I learned a lesson that day to not lock things up for a long period of time. All right. I'll tell you another story. It was 3 years ago, maybe like in 2 or 3 days from now. There was a project that my friend had told me about, and said that this is going to be, the next big thing, this and that. And I said, okay, I took a look at it. The community was big, it was large, a lot of things going on, but they wanted people to stake for like years, like 2 or 3 years. And I was like, this doesn't sound right. But my friend was like, this, it's going to be great. And I was like, okay. And like, this is still when I'm trying to like figure out crypto myself. And I'm not as veteran as I am today, let's say. And I was like, all right, man, this feels like it'll be around in a few years. Maybe the crypto market will have more adoption by then. And so I was like, all right, great. I'll lock it up. 3 years have gone by, and that project is worthless now. And all that money is just gone. So I can tell you that long staking, right? Locking things up for a long period of time, things happen very quickly in crypto. And you want the ability to maneuver if you have to. And when you lock things up for a long period of time, good luck. Good luck, man. You just got to be very careful. Haven't shared those stories. So that's some new stuff. I've made a lot of mistakes in crypto. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot of things not to do. And hopefully me sharing some of the kind of worst experiences that I've had help you not make those same mistakes that I did. Right. And so, that's kind of the goal of me sharing this, right, with you guys. And, there's just a level of honesty saying that you made a mistake and you thought something was going to be good and it turned out not to be good. Right. And people make those mistakes all the time. And you just gotta be very careful. Not moving to Beverly Hills. I feel that. Let's see here. You think AI will be able to successfully trade for us in the near future? Yeah. I mean, I would imagine that some of the bigger institutions and firms already have, supercomputers and AI trading for them. And will it be more easily accessible to people like you and I? Yeah, probably. I heard there was some type of new like AI bank launching or launched. There's definitely things coming. And how people can use those are going to make a big difference. Let's see here. Hold on. So would someone get yield or return on their crypto if staking or such is dangerous? So some companies, right, are more reputable than others. Okay. And some staking options are probably more realistic than others. So you just need to find what works for you, right? And I would only go with the most trusted names in the space, right? Because the difference of you making 4 or 5% in this place and you taking higher risks and making, 10 or 15% over here, you got to hope that place is still there, right? And that's, I've seen that a lot of time in crypto. You know, people lock their stuff up for 3 months, 6 months, and sometimes things collapse, and sometimes things are not what they say they are, right? And that's a big part of the crypto market that's hard to deal with, is because a lot of promises are made that we're a reputable company, and then sometimes you find out that that company isn't reputable. And if you've locked your crypto up with that company and you're trying to get it off, like that could be bad too. So you just got to be very, very careful of who you're trusting with your hard-earned money, you know? It's not a mistake, it's a learning lesson. Yeah, I've had a lot of costly learning lessons. You know, I if I could go back in time and change a few things, I definitely would. I definitely would, man. Yeah, you're right. We're always lasting in technology, but I'm sure it'll be expensive also. But I mean, that goes with time, right? As time goes on, things will get less expensive, and there'll be more options for us. I deleted my information on my cold wallet, lost 4,000 XRP. That is brutal. That is brutal. You deleted like your seed phrase? You don't remember your password to get into your wallet? I'm sorry to hear that, man. So Top Gaffa has a hot stock tip for you, talking about Grand Theft Auto 6. I mean, it's probably going to be the most downloaded, bought, sought after game in history, probably, I'd imagine. I have no idea like what it'll do to the stock or whatever, but you probably have a good eye there. Are we talking about AI and bots and using AI to trade for you? Is that what we're talking about? Do a video on that? I've heard a lot of like positive things about iTrust. I haven't, you know, talked with them personally, so I don't know. I've seen a lot of content creators talking about them. You know, I haven't seen anything negative. So, you know, if you've done your due diligence and you trust them, rock and roll. I don't know, Jordan. Doesn't feel like anytime soon, man. Doesn't feel like anytime soon. I think it's like when Honda or something, you know. Man, I haven't played video games in so long. I kind of miss it. Just skip the Lambo, get a Corvette. I think like instead of a Lambo, I'd rather have like a 68 or 69 Camaro or something like that. Something like something of beauty, you know. Corvette's nice. Corvette's definitely nice. Husky Tom Sensei, the entire chat appreciates you. Always love your research. Definitely love the Flare and HBAR content. Is there anything else you want to research for us? Don't worry about views because we got your back, brother. Tom, I really appreciate you, man. Thank you. You know, I'll keep trying to listen to you guys, you know, as more people want to explore more things, you know, if there's value there, and you know, I can help you understand that value better, I definitely will, man. You know, I'm loving the Flare content. I'm loving the HBAR content, and I'd imagine we're talking about clarity. We're talking about a lot of stuff. I'm trying to mix it up, right? Because you can only put out so much XRP content. And I think we do a good job on the channel of covering all of that content. But, there's other things that I like to talk about. And we are exploring that, man. So I appreciate you, dude. Thank you. I don't trade privacy tokens. Xceller, I don't know anything about it, man. Sorry. I see a lot of people talking about like Monero and Zcash. I'd imagine Zcash is probably going to do well. I see a lot of people talking about it. $77 vet. Yeah, that's nice. You guys got any plans for Valentine's Day? Is that just the US thing, right? That's just a US thing, right? It's different days of the year for other places, I think, right? Tempest. Yeah, I haven't played games in so long, man. I just don't find the time. I do like a good drama show though. I've been watching some TV recently, some TV shows. Tom, how's Luna, man? How's your dog? Is your dog okay? You think Cowboys trying to rob flying cars for my XRP? You see, there's been a lot of I don't know if that video was real. Did you guys see the video of the guy getting snatched off the street in Paris or France? It's supposed to be some crypto trader. I don't know if that was real or not, but we broke as fuck for Valentine's Day. I feel that. I feel that, man. I feel that. I my wife's been super sick. We're supposed to go to dinner on Sunday because we hate going out on Valentine's Day because people are crazy. I don't know if she's gonna be okay though. Yeah, you did see that on X? Okay. I don't know if that was a crypto person though. They said it was. There you go. Bodana needs a Valentine. If anyone else, take your dogs for a walk. I mean, that's probably better. Dogs are always the better choice, I feel. Sensei, this is my favorite TV show. Well, Bill, what are you watching? What is your favorite TV show? I'm watching I like the new Game of Thrones show, Night of the Seven Kingdoms. That's interesting. Gangs of London. I like that because it's a little bloody. Spartacus. I've been watching that. The House of Usher. That's a pretty good show. What else am I watching? Lincoln Lawyer. Bridgerton. I don't know, a few other things. I don't know. They fill up pretty quick, Mercedes. The Firelight vaults. Everything's filling up pretty quick. I'm in talk with the Firelight team right now. We're gonna bring them in probably, I don't know if it's next week or the week after for an interview, so we can ask a bunch of questions. I can ask them if the vaults are full, but by the time they answer, we're gonna probably end the stream. So, yeah, I'll bring them in. So if you have questions for them directly, we'll post something on X. If you have a question for Firelight, let me know, and then I'll look out for your question. But yeah, once it gets announced, if you want to show up and if you want to ask them questions directly, I'd be happy to do that for you, Mercedes. You guys got any more questions? If not, I am going to go lay down and just rest a bit. All right, let's do that. I appreciate you. I hope you guys have a great weekend and a great Valentine's Day. I appreciate your time. I know we're in a very weird place in the crypto market, but I do think times will get better, and we'll get through this time together. Sometimes getting to where we want to go takes time, takes energy, takes commitment, and I know that everyone here listening has all of that stuff, and it's going to be a weird year. Markets will be down, and then regulation will get passed, and people will come back. We just got to wait for that to happen. All right. So I appreciate your support. I hope you guys have a great weekend, spending some time with somebody you love, whether that's a person or a dog or a cat. I'll be back on Tuesday with another chat. Got some new interviews coming up next week and the week after. Have a good one. All right. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I'll see you next time. All right.